Hey guys, this is Matthew from Nerd News Today. Welcome back to another wrestling figure review. And today, it is a long-awaited and glorious day because we're finally getting a look at some more AEW action figures. And today we're taking a look at the Ringside Collectibles exclusive Blood and Guts Blood Brothers 2-pack. This 2-pack features Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes from their bloody match at Double or Nothing on May 25th, 2019 in Las Vegas. This match took place at the second ever AEW pay-per-view, where they definitely raised the stakes and proved that AEW could be a viable competitor in the pro wrestling marketplace. If you've been here at Nerd News Today for a while, you see that we do a lot of wrestling toy reviews here, but we haven't done much with AEW. In fact, the only AEW figure we've reviewed so far was the ringside exclusive, little bit of the bubbly Chris Jericho figure. That's because AEW figures have been stupid hard to find. I do have Series 2 on the way. I don't know if I'm going to ever see Series 1. They've been so hard to find out in the wild, and even on Walmart.com, which is supposed to be the place to get them, well, they sell out immediately. Ringside Collectibles is your only choice, and just as much as Walmart has sold out, so has Ringside. You can't really find these things anywhere. So as soon as this surprise announcement dropped of this Blood Brothers 2-pack, I had to jump on it, and I did, and here we go today. So let's get started by talking about the packaging. I don't have any first-hand experience with the AEW figures from before, but I know that the packaging was pretty big. I did see them in person at Toy Fair. I just haven't actually had a chance to hold them in my hands yet. But this is a little bit different. It's a little bit more of a smaller economical packaging as opposed to what the company has been doing previously. This is just a very simple rectangle. It's got your two figures in a very large window display on the front. You could see right into the box and see everything that you're getting in this pack. On one side, we've just got, again, the continuation of the window, but on the other side, we've got pictures of both Cody and Dustin Rhodes. And these are promo shots of them from that match. Difference here being is that Cody is wearing a suit still, because of course, that's what Cody does. The back of the box features a photo of Cody and Dustin from after the match, after the two had their final moment together in the ring. We've got a faux signature underneath each of the wrestlers. There's a ringside exclusive label on the upper left corner. We've got the date of the event, and then we just got Blood and Guts Blood Brothers. So overall packaging, nothing really fancy, nothing really special, but it's nice. I do appreciate that it's also a little bit smaller. And I do very much like that you can easily see into the package and see what you're going to get here, because the cool thing about this is that, yeah, this is a pretty bloody representation of these two guys because, well, that match kind of was a bloodbath. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox these guys in one moment, but I want to answer one other question before I do that. Now, clearly you guys can see that these figures are covered in blood, and I love that about these guys. But my question was, are all figures going to look identical to each other? Is that blood splatter going to be different from one figure to another? So I went ahead and I ordered two of these guys because I also want to have one in package. And yeah, for the sake of comparison, here's what they look like side by side, and I would say that they are pretty much 99% identical. That's kind of a big deal, I feel like. I mean, again, we don't really see blood splatter figures that often, but yeah, they seem to be pretty much identical. I mean, they're not exactly splattered. I guess they're probably more like decals or whatever they're doing to apply it. Doesn't really matter. What does matter is that, for the most part, any figure you buy is going to look exactly like mine, and that's kind of nice. But let's go ahead and take a more up-close and personal look at these two figures. Let's go ahead and get them out of the box and into the ring. Alright, and here are our Blood Brothers out of the box now. And apologies for not using an AEW ring here. All I have is the WWE Authentic Scale ring from Wicked Cool Toys. But to be perfectly honest, it's going to be the exact same ring you would get from the AEW toys, because it's the same manufacturer. So the only difference here would just be the turnbuckles, so just pretend you don't even see those. But anyway, yeah, let's get a close look now at the figures. And I want to address one of the elephants in the room I've seen about these toys so far. Especially when they were first announced, everybody was talking about the height difference between these two toys, and how it was perceived that Dustin is just way bigger than Cody. So let's go ahead and move them closer together so you can actually see how much the difference is. I'm going to put them back to back, in fact. So yeah, so there is a clear height difference between the two of them, but how accurate is that? Well, all you got to do is just Google it, folks, and if you look it up, you'll find out that Cody is 6'1", Dustin is 6'6". There is a 5-inch height difference between the two of them, so yeah, this is pretty accurate. So anybody saying that these two figures look too big next to each other, well, I think really the problem is not so much the height as it is the body types between the two figures. And because of the body that they're using here on Dustin, he's kind of bulkier, he's a little bit stockier than he might actually be in real life. Dustin's pretty lean, and for the most part I think they captured that, but the upper body, it does seem a little bit wide. And the outfit doesn't do it any favors either, because basically we've got stripes going across his chest here and on his legs, and stripes of course always make things look wider. So I think the discrepancy is really coming more in that part of it than it is in the height so much. That's at least my personal belief in this. I know the height does look jarring, but it is accurate. It's pretty close to being accurate at least. So let's talk about the head sculpts now. Let's talk about those likenesses. How are the likenesses? Well, again, I hadn't really seen that Cody figure in person other than basically photos I've seen from other people. I saw both these figures at Toy Fair, but those were again hand-painted by the production team, so it's not going to be necessarily what production looks like. In the case of Cody here, I think this looks actually really, really great. I wasn't really impressed at all with the Wave 1 Cody figure from any of the photos I saw. To me, it actually looked a lot more like Dolph Lundgren than it did Cody Rhodes. This time around, though, that head sculpt, it is absolutely Cody Rhodes. It's a perfect head sculpt, and I think the paint job also really nailed it. You know, that was one of the things I'd seen with these toys in Series 1, and especially with that Jericho, and just from looking at other people's photos, the paint jobs weren't necessarily the best, but the head sculpts look really good. This time around, I think they completely got Cody. This is an excellent version of Cody Rhodes here. As for Dustin, you know, it's a little bit tough to actually tell how he looks because of what's going on with all the paint here. Because he's got that blood flowing down his face, he's got some of the face paint already rubbed off because this is at the end of the match, of course. So yeah, to really get like a better look at it, I kind of had to look at it from the sides more so. From the sides, I think it especially looks like Dustin. I think you can really see it better on this side because there's a lot less stuff going on this side. But yeah, this looks like Dustin. I think it's a pretty solid head sculpt of him. And by the way, if you guys are looking at his eyes and you're wondering, is one of them mispainted? No, one of them is just a little bit lower because, well, you know, he's been bleeding in the match, and that's just kind of how it worked out. And that is identical, again, on the other set of figures I have too. So I would say the head sculpts are a total knockout here. They definitely nailed it this time around. Paint jobs are also really good on the heads. But what about the rest of the body? Well, again, you guys can see here, this is going to basically be the body types they're going to be probably primarily using for these figures here. But yeah, I think otherwise, you know, the paint, the outfits, they're pretty much accurate. And I really think the designs, especially here on Cody, that looks really good. Excellent amount of detail and decal work in there. You can see it's more on the sides here. Like, they pretty much got that outfit. They even got his weight belt here, too, which was accurate to what he was wearing at the time, too. You know, Dustin's outfit is a little bit more plain, but they got all the high points there. And check out those boots, too. I love the boots on both of these figures. They're both, you know, really looking really nice and very clean. Lots of good little details that you might have missed the first time around when you actually saw these guys in the match because there's just so much more going on. Dustin's gloves are also really accurate to what he was wearing in the match. And in general, yeah, like they got the outfits out 100%. And another big thing, too, is these tattoos on both of them. You can kind of see here, in fact, what's really impressive is they got the Dream tattoo with Dustin's blood across it. I love that one. But yeah, on Dustin in particular, they've got a ton of excellent tattoo work here. Looks really good. And, you know, compare it to, like, let's say a Mattel figure that would have a lot of tattoos. There are some differences in the application of it. And that's particularly the color of those figures. And the best example I can offer right now is I've got the ringside exclusive Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse set. And I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. I've also got Roman Reigns here from recent Elite Series as well. So that's kind of just to show you guys what the difference in the tattoos looks like. And I guess we're also doing a bit of a comparison here too, but that just worked out that way. But yeah, you can see basically on the AEW figures, it's a little bit of a lighter brown shade. Whereas more so on the Mattel figures, they're a little bit, still kind of brown, but also a little bit of a tinge of green. And they're also a little bit darker. So that's just kind of the difference there between the tattoos. My personal preference, I don't really care one way or the other for either one. I do like how the WWE figures are a little bit sharper, but I still appreciate the excellent amount of detail that they've got. And I think it's also a bit cleaner. It feels like this paint on the AEW figures is going to last longer too. It just kind of has a deeper feeling to it, and it looks like it's better incorporated into it. And I can also tell you guys that having talked to Dustin at Toy Fair, he said that this was, well, not exactly this version, but his AEW figure of himself was his favorite figure ever because they got all the right tattoos on him, including what you're seeing here on his arm and over here as well. So it's great to finally be able to actually see a little bit of that in person, in hand. Now let's talk about this weightlifting belt, by the way, because there aren't really too many accessories in this pack, and this is pretty much it. So I'm going to take this off because there is a little piece of plastic wrapped around him. That's something we saw with the Jericho figure also. There's like this little bit of tape or plastic, whatever, that's going around him to, I guess, keep it separate and to keep it from smudging itself. And I think it's very considerate of them to do this here because that's something you don't really get with Mattel figures. They're not really thinking of the collectors in that way and going that deep in the collection. So yeah, the fact that they're concerned about keeping the figures minty and as minty as possible, you know, hats off to them for doing that. So yeah, that weightlifting belt, you can see, comes off very easily. And let's see, does it go back on just as easily? It's a little tough. I'm going to play with that, I think, a little bit more. Let's see. Let's try it on camera, though. Yeah, okay, that's fine. It's kind of difficult to do it, I guess, with this, because it's got this sort of like rubbery hook to it. Maybe you guys can see it. I don't know if you can. It's got a little bit of a rubbery hook there. So I think it should be able to go on. But, you know what, that's fine for a minute. I'm going to leave it off just right now, because I want to talk about articulation. And I was very impressed with the articulation we saw in Jericho. So let's see if it's the same this time around. So we got ball-jointed heads on both of them. We've got shoulders that are going up and down. Shoulders are very stiff in this case on Dustin. Yeah, just as much. Little kind of like clicking system, you hear that? That's like their kind of proprietary form of articulation in the shoulders. We've got the bicep swivel. We've got double-jointed elbows. So you can give a good old bionic elbow right there. We have the wrists that look like they can turn, they can flex, they can bend. Yep, they do all that. We have a nice buck torso here. We've got a waist that moves. Very, very much superior than the Mattel figures in terms of articulation here. It's more akin to an Ultimate Edition, in fact, than that. Wow, talk about flexibility there. If we can get ourselves, well, of course, you know, not surprising, get a little bit deeper here than Dustin can. But hey, Dustin's 50, give him a break. We've got thigh articulation as well. We've got double jointed knees. The boots turn, and we've got ankle rotation, and they can flex up and down too. So really excellent articulation, and in particular with these figures, neither one has anything hindering them from having a full range of motion. So I gotta tell you guys, what I'm really blown away with by these figures though is that detail, and it is that paint job across them all. It's the outfit, it's the blood, the face paint. I really think Cody in particular is an excellent looking figure because the hair's got some gradients as well. There's some layering almost. Like, they did a really nice job here. Look at all that. The blood flowing down his back too. Yeah, just real good job in both of these figures with that. I love a good bloody figure, and they don't really make them that often. You know, Jax did a few here and there. Those are pretty decent, but these are definitely light years ahead of what they were doing with Jax. So I already did a little bit of a comparison inadvertently with some Mattel figures, but hey, let's bring out a few more, because why the heck not? We got ourselves a stunning Steve Austin from, again, another recent Elite series. And here's the bad guy, Razor Ramones, from the Legends Series 8, which you can find at Targets, or you could try to find at Targets. So that's how they kind of look all sized up next to each other here. And they fit in, I think, just fine. But why don't we try just bringing in one other AEW figure, and really it's the only AEW figure I have, and that will be Chris Jericho. This was from that little bit of the bubbly pack, which was a really great pack, and a reason I really want to bring him out, not to really compare it size-wise or anything like that, but just to kind of show and to examine if things have changed from what we saw previously, and looks like it's a big fat yes. So I think you guys can maybe see what I was talking about here with the faces, because you can look at Jericho's face and you can look at Cody's face now, and again, the head sculpts I think are both excellent, but the paint job is so much crisper and cleaner on Cody in particular. And even on Dustin, I think he's got the weaker paint job here, but still looks better than what Jericho's got going on. The plastic is also a lot less shiny on Cody and on Dustin than it is on Jericho. I think that was something I heard they were going to work on, was making the flesh tones not really glow as much. Maybe glow is not the right word, but it looks pretty bright, looks it pops a lot, and I think they're working to improve that. So yeah, that part they have definitely accomplished here. Plastic feels pretty good too across the board. So I think they're making some steps in the right direction here with the continuation of the AEW line. I really just hope that the next step that they make is, well, getting them into stores a lot better. So if I can make one single nitpick about these figures, and I'm going to, is that I wish there was a microphone with these toys. They don't really need any other accessories beyond that. I mean, we do have Cody's weightlifting belt over here, which you can see, but the one thing that would have been nice to have in the match, especially if you consider that this is meant to be the post-match look of these two guys, I wanted a microphone there so that Cody could then cut his promo. And I don't know if any of the AEW figures yet have come with a microphone. I don't think they have. Maybe Brandy does, I'm not positive on that. But, I mean, yeah, microphone is a really small accessory. It won't cost them much to toss that in there. I kind of wish it was there. Would have really helped kind of complete the set and help make that iconic moment from that match even more iconic. But at the end of the day, I gotta tell you guys, these AEW Blood Brothers figures, this Blood and Guts 2-pack, this is a must-have for AEW collectors. It's putting my faith back in this line that has become such a difficult thing to find. This sort of unicorn of wrestling figures. My dilemma has been, is it worth the hunt? Is it worth paying the big scalper prices for? Well, the answer to the scalper prices is, of course, never. Never, ever pay scalper prices for anything, especially in this current toy economy that we've got going on thanks to the pandemic. But now, having looked at these figures, I think that they're totally worth the hunt. They're totally worth tracking down. They're a really good line. They've got amazing articulation. Likenesses are really great here. Paint job, it's improving with each line that they're doing, and that's positive. I don't really have anything bad to say about these figures. I really like them. I'm not going to give them a perfect grade, because I do think Dustin's face maybe is a little bit off, but it's also hard to tell because there's just so much going on with the paint there. So for now, I'm going to give it a thumbs up, but maybe not the perfect Dustin, and maybe not necessarily the most iconic Dustin. There will be other Dustins, and I'm hoping when I get Series 2, I'll be able to compare it and see how they look. But yeah, overall here, no complaints. Good 2-pack. Get them while you can, because these are going to be hot. I think right now, even the little bit of the bubbly Jericho is now on back order on ringside. And chances are this Blood and Guts 2-pack is also going to be on back order, and then it's going to disappear, and then those prices will definitely go up. So get them now while you can. So that's our look at the AEW Blood and Guts Blood Brothers 2-pack exclusive to Ringside Collectibles. Let's go ahead and go over to their website and pick it up from them. I don't have an affiliate code yet, but it sounds like I should get myself one of those too, so I can help you guys get a nice discount too. And don't forget to check out Ringside's Cyber Monday sale, which is going to happen, I'm sure, this Monday, and who knows what else they're going to be doing for the rest of the year. But yeah, hopefully we'll have some good deals. Don't expect to see any other AEW figures besides this 2-pack there, and I think the rings, that's about it. I'm excited for 2021 when hopefully there's more AEW figures, and more so, they'll be easier to get. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching. Feel free to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. And until next time, we'll see you in the ring.